Welcome back, everybody. This is Whissel Wednesdays, right here on 1170 The Answer. Good evening. My name is Clay Murray, hosting for Kyle Whissel. I'm a loan officer at Team Home Loans with our boy, Jason Hall. Jason is also unavailable this evening. He's out campaigning for the presidency in 2016.
Wow.
Yeah. At least I'm hoping. I don't want to get too far into it, but we talked a little debate earlier. The Democratic debate last night was pretty boring. I mean, you don't have the Trump in there mixing things up. The Donald is really coming strong this year, but to me, it looked like Hillary is kind of running away with that. So kind of boring. We won't bore you with that. But we did last segment talk about changes to our industry, FHA appraisals, appraisers becoming more like inspectors on those kinds of deals, TRID changes. I shot through TRID very quickly. We were up against the clock, but you know, we've gone back and forth about what it means to work with a real professional. You actually defined professional for our listeners, which is important. There are how many agents in San Diego?
Oh gosh, over 20,000.
20,000 agents in San Diego. And it's the old 80-20 adage, right?
I think it's even less than that, to be quite honest with you.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. Well, the saying goes 80% of the people do 20% of the business.
I'd be more like 90-10.
90-10. So you want to make sure you're working with one of the 10% agents who are doing 90% of the business. And the folks over at Whissel Realty are doing a great job. Steve, yourself, top producer over there, year after year. What is it that makes you a successful agent?
I'm in an environment where we have an opportunity to learn. You know, in our office, we talk a lot about why. Why? What's your why? Why do you do this? And there are so many abilities that each person has. In our office meeting again yesterday, that can't remember the movie, but this segment that we played that was like 3 minutes. What was that? What was that segment, that movie?
I don't remember the movie, yeah, but it was like the Bear Crawl of Death or something.
Yeah, Bear Crawl of Death from a movie. It was a 5-minute segment of this linebacker that the coach called out because he wasn't too thrilled. And they did a death crawl, and he has this apparently 140-pound kid on his back that he's got to crawl to the 50-yard line blindfolded. And the coach is just absolutely screaming his head off. You can do it. You can go a little bit more. You can push yourself. And by the time the coach finished with the linebacker, they were at the other end zone, and the coach got corrected by the kid that was on the linebacker's back, saying, "Coach, I'm actually 160.
Right.
So what does that mean? It really means that we all have so much that we can expand on in our lives. And the office environment that I'm surrounded by, everybody just pushes themselves to be better. Not to be the best in an egotistical sense, but just to be better. It's incredible. And our environment brings out the best in me. And once you start seeing what an environment like that looks like and feels like, you can't go anywhere else and you can't go back.
Sure.
It's impossible.
Yeah, you need those people who are accountability partners and really building you to be the best person you can be. And that's what that coach was saying. Mm-hmm. And by the way, that movie was Facing the Giant.
There we go.
Yes. Our in-studio photographer, Brian, helped me out with that.
Thank you.
He blindfolded this linebacker so that he didn't quit once he realized he had made it to the 50-yard line. And that is so important, not necessarily to build your business with blinders on, mm-hmm. but to not stop yourself because you think you've made it to a certain point, and to have people around you to keep pushing you and pushing you and pushing you. And that's what you guys do so well at your office. And I'm so glad that I'm associated with you on the lending side, because I've learned so much from the people in that building as well.
And that's the thing. You're not just learning about real estate.
Oh, no.
You're actually becoming a better human being. Mm-hmm. That culture in there is just, I can't really explain it. You'd have to see it to understand it. But, you know, when you work with a real estate agent, I'm not going to use the word professional. That's a defined term. When you work with a regular real estate agent that just went out and for 3 months got their license and then raises their hand when they hear somebody say, "Oh, I need a house." And they go, "Hey, I have my license. I can help you."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, run.
Right.
Because it's so involved. Contract law, negotiating skills, understanding people, how to fix problems, how to keep everything calm, collected, and cool, work within timelines. I mean, I've been doing this over 22 years. This is a learned experience that I'm continuously learning. Mm-hmm. And if somebody just thinks that they can go work with anybody because, hey, you have a license, you can sell me a house, you are in so much trouble.
Yeah.
You don't even realize it.
Well, and so many of you out there listening, you probably know someone who's an agent, a family member, a friend, a guy you met on the corner at 7-Eleven the other day. There are so many out there in San Diego. You really need to do your homework and make sure that you're working with the right agent, because time is an issue when you get into contract.
And the one thing that I want to leave you with on that before we get back into some of these other important issues is, how many times in your life have you made a decision where you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars? And how many times has the person you hired been involved in making decisions that can cost you hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars? Think about that. And that will allow you to truly define whether or not you want to work with somebody who's licensed or seek out a professional.
Absolutely. And I want to get into the market a little bit right now. It was super hot earlier this year.
Yeah.
Houses selling for way above list price, way above appraised value,
Sure.
meaning you're buying the home underwater. Where are we right now, and what do you kind of predict going into 2016? Is it still a good time to buy? I hear the scenario all the time. Well, I think I'm going to wait 6 months.
Right.
I think I'm going to wait a year. Why should people avoid doing that right now in this housing market?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, inventory is still really tight. So great inventory. If it comes, it's gone. And it's gone with multiple offers. If it's just something that's overpriced and nothing spectacular, it's going to sit. So there's been a little bit of a leveling off from what does the consumer want? Are they just going to take the bottom of the barrel just because, or are they going to actually wait for something that's great? People are waiting for property that's actually decent.
Right.
Especially now, like with the FHA stuff we talked about, because a lot more of this stuff is being called out. But not just that. I mean, if you think about this time of year when most people get into holiday mode, oh, it's Thanksgiving, oh, it's Christmas, oh, I'm shopping, oh,
I'll do it after the holidays.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man, just imagine if you're looking for your perfect property and that perfect property came up December 12th and everybody else was in holiday mode. Where's your competition? I'd say 50, 60, 70% of it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Excellent point.
Yeah. So would you rather shop on a property that isn't being scoped by 15, 20 people and maybe have one or two people that you may have to compete against? Or depending on the day that it was coming, all these Christmas parties, and we can talk about what Christmas parties do to people, but it takes you out of the game.
It does. And, not only are you up against other people submitting offers, but you're likely going to get into that home at value or maybe even below. And if you're working with a real agent who knows what they're doing and they are a professional, they're not taking the holidays off. But then again, how many of these San Diego agents are taking the holidays off? Yep. They work hard for 3 quarters and then they are off into the sunset for the last. But not. I've talked you guys up like crazy, and it's legitimate. You guys do your homework. You are way beyond your years. And you're putting systems in place that are really preparing you for success. And that goes all the way through the 4th quarter. So if you're thinking about, should I buy, should I wait right now? We are headed into a great time to start buying because the competition is falling off.
Absolutely.
But also we talked about before this last segment that the Fed raising the rate has not gone away.
Right.
That is not canceled. That's postponed for now, indefinitely. I'll stand by this statement. The Fed is going to raise the rate. Now, when that happens, we don't know yet. It's proposed to happen again in December. So if you're waiting till Christmas or after Christmas, well, you might end up with more competition to submit offers and even a higher interest rate. So that's just another reason to really start doing your homework now. Get pre-approved now. Work with a great lender. Work with a great agent. And if you see that property you want now, don't wait. Get in it now, lock in a great rate before anybody else kind of determines your future for you.
Well, here's the other thing to consider. If the rates do go up, it doesn't instantly mean that home values are going to come down. The affordability index is still at a point where people can't afford these homes. So the truth of the fact is, once these rates actually go up, guess what's going to happen? You're just going to pay more, period. And do you want that over a 30-year term? Because, again, where we're at for rates right now, the likelihood of coming back to this point, I mean, there's always roller coasters in a marketplace, but it's over so much time. So how much time would you like to overpay for your property before you could refinance it again in the future?
Absolutely.
Big question.
Right. Yeah. And if you're thinking about it at all and you want to see what the difference between a 4% rate and a 5% rate is, not only monthly, but over the lifetime of a 30-year loan, please give me a call. Clay Murray, Team Home Loans, 858-774-3756. If you're looking for a real estate professional, please call Steve.
You can reach me, Stephen Wener, at 760-300-9166.
Thank you so much for listening this evening. Kyle and Jason will be back with you next week. But tonight, again, this is Clay Murray with Team Home Loans, joined by Stephen Wener of Whissel Realty. This has been Whissel Wednesdays right here on 1170 The Answer. Have a great night, everybody.